Is this live? I really, really hope this is working. Are we working? I think we're working. We are working. We're working. We be working. Let's turn monetization on. That's very important. Right. Public. Boom. Let's go. Let's go. Good evening. I'm really cold. Yeah, and you can say, oh, well, what are you in a t-shirt for? Well, I'm just cold, okay? I'm cold. So what we've got... Look, I said I'd try to get live. I've been able to get live, and we have... There's 26 minutes left. Gonna be honest, probably was hoping for more, but it's been a pretty rough day. It's been a pretty rough day. I'm gonna be brutally honest here. I've had a long day. Hello, Colin. How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you back. Hello, F1 Racer as well. How are you doing? How are you all doing? So, yeah, I didn't have any time to do any graphics or anything for this. The stream on Saturday is going to have more stuff. This was literally... I've got back from uni. I've put the dog to bed. There's someone to look after her now. So I thought, let's go live for a little bit. We're approaching the end of day 1 of pre-season testing. And I think it's been a pretty entertaining day. I've kept on track. I've kept sort of on top of it wherever I could. Hello guys, good to see some of you all filtering in. Hope you all had a great day enjoying watching all of the action. We've literally just gone live. So yeah, I've sort of just become free enough to do a stream. How Aston performing? Well, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good, isn't it? And this is something that was completely expected, you know. I said on yesterday's stream, if there's a... They haven't updated the team graphics on here. Yeah, you know, I said yesterday the team that's going to make the biggest jump is probably going to be Aston Martin. And based on what we've seen so far, after causing the first red flag earlier on in the day, it does seem, yeah, they're doing a pretty damn good job. They're doing a really good job. So guys, I assume most of you have watched a lot of stuff from testing this morning. So what are you making of it? You know, are we enjoying the new cars, seeing a lot of interesting stuff? Because I've enjoyed just looking at all the sort of tech details. I really do enjoy it. So I've actually got it on a side screen here, but it's about a minute and a half behind because I didn't have time to set up like the mini skybox thing because it just didn't have enough time. Because all of this stream has been incredibly rushed and set up. But, look, at least we're here to talk about the F1. On Saturday, we're going to have a much sort of bigger, better stream. This is more of a, let's just see what's going on. You know, let's just have a chat about what's going on. Oh, we've got another problem, mate. No, he's just letting a car past. I saw Aston Martin slowing down, and after this morning, I'm like, oh, they're broken down. No, it's just letting cars go past. It's all good. It's all good. I was so jumpy. Every time I see Fernando Alonso, well, every time I see one of the Aston Martins driving slow, I'm just going to assume they're breaking down. Just because it's the Alonso curse. Wherever he goes, trouble follows. So just assume they're going to break down every single race. But yeah, so what's everyone made of, you know, like these new cars, how it's all, you know, how today's all unfolded. I've tried to watch as much of it as possible. I think I have. I missed a few minutes at the start of the afternoon session because I was driving. But that was basically it. I've been able to watch pretty much all of today, so I've done pretty well. Ah yes, L Plan seems to be working. And you know what I've done? I forgot to change the stream latency again. Even though last night, you know, we had a really big problem with stream latency, I forgot to change the... Yeah. I've forgotten to change that, so I guess all you guys are going to have to witness a minute or two behind, because apparently it seems like it's really far behind for some reason. Alonso starting a new lap. He's on a set of I believe these are the C3 tyres, because they are the ones with the full ring. So if it's just yellow text, it's a C2 tyre. If it's a full yellow ring, it's a C3 tyre. That's how I understand it so far. It makes no sense. It's such a bad system. This whole tyre system is just absolutely awful. I don't like it at all. And yeah, this is another, oh, you're complaining again. Yeah, well, it's annoying me, okay? It's annoying me. Full white, C0. Yes, so I think it's full... Is it full white that a C0 and then a white text is the C1? Or is it the full white is C1 and then just the white text is C0? I don't know. Ian Wright, here you are. How did the first day's testing results from last year compare with final performance at the end of last season? It was fairly accurate. I mean, the Bahrain test was a lot more accurate than the Barcelona test. So, Alonso might be about to improve it. Actually, we see if he does. He did not improve. Oh, yeah, no, he missed the final quarter, that's why. So yeah, last year at Bahrain testing, we saw Max Verstappen come out on top. And what happened for the rest of the season? Yeah. So we could be in for a repeat of last year, but we'll have to see how all of this turns out. But look, I have to say, the way Red Bull are going about this test, Verstappen turning up, just doing his 3 sessions and then sodding off, that's what's going to happen here. He's not going to hang around for the next couple of days. He's not going to see, how Checo does and all of that. He's going to be like, yeah, done it, I'm off. And the mind games that could play, they mentioned it on the commentary. I thought it was a really good note. The mind games that plays where you're happy to just walk in, do your 3 sessions, leave, not even look at the times for the next, 36 hours. Just don't care. Don't look at it. Doesn't affect me, whatever. Sort of mental game that's playing is really bold because, if you do all of this and then turn up to Bahrain in a week and a half time, 9 days time now till the first race, I think it is, gets underway. You're going to look a little bit silly. And yet there's going to be questions asked, did you go about this testing in the right way? I'm hoping we might get a cheeky proper quali sim run from Max. What was the Bahrain pole time last year? My phone's still in my pocket. That's how, rushed this stream setup has been. Because I was like, yeah, I've just got home. There's someone to look after the dog. Right, let's go. So what was the... Okay, so I'm going to pull up the times from last year, just so we can sort of have a little comparison, see if any drivers are improving. I saw Alex Albon is within about half a tenth of what Latifi managed in qualifying in the Williams last season at Bahrain. So we're already at the stage where we're pretty much going as quick as last year. Numan, hello, how you doing, man? How you doing? How is everyone? Right, F1 Bahrain pre-season testing 2022 times. So we'll try to get these times up. Yeah, here we go, 2022 F1 preseason testing. So let's see what the times were last year. Day 1 last year, that's what we're going to look at because it tends to be a bit more important, really. Oh, no, I don't want the lap by lap, I want the testing report. Here we go. Which one of these has the results? There we go, this one. Okay, so we had a... We're going quite a lot quicker than last year already. And when I say quite a lot... I mean, okay, so Pierre Gasly topped day 1 last year. So, but the AlphaTauri did have pace at the start of the year, so that's not as stupid as it sounds. The AlphaTauri was really quick in Bahrain. Obviously quickest, no, but it was a quick car. And that was a 33.9. And so far, as you can see, Verstappen's done a 32.8. Wait, okay, that's the last lap. I'm going to change the on-screen graphic. I don't know how to use this website. It was sort of just the first timing site I found, so... Does this not have their best lap time? We've got the gap. But basically, Verstappen's lap time so far is a 32.8. So we are already over 1 second quicker than what we were doing this time last year. On day 1 at Bahrain testing, we're already a second a lap quicker. Already. So, yeah, we're getting more push laps. What was the pole time? Actually, I'm going to check day 3 time first, and then we're going to look at the pole time. So the quickest time in all of preseason testing last year was only 1.2 seconds quicker than what we've got now. So that's mad. I mean, Verstappen set of 31.7, and he's currently on a 32.9. I think I said it was. And Alonso, there we go. He's already. I said it yesterday. I said it yesterday. Aston Martin should be the team that makes the biggest step, and I stick by it. From what I've seen so far today, the way that car's handling. And I'm not going off the lap time here. The way the car's handling and sort of just how good it looks to drive. Yeah, I'd say I'm sticking by that. I'm sticking by it. Red Bull 2 OP, please nerf. It's too early to decide pace. Yeah, no, it absolutely is. But I'm more talking about the actual... Oh, there we go. Best lap. Okay, I need to keep it on that. I'm more talking about the actual looking at how the car's handling. Obviously, you can have a car that looks like it's really quick and it's not. So, we can sit here and go, oh yeah, no, it looks really quick. Might not actually be, but I'm just saying, as in, the actual drivability of the car looks really solid so far. It's too early to, yeah, I'm talking about Aston Martin, yeah. Could you repeat that again? I have no idea what it was I have to repeat. So we've got 18 and a half minutes left or so, or whatever that, yeah, 17 minutes left. I'm way behind on my screen here. Thoughts about the drivability of the McLaren. I haven't seen a lot of McLaren onboards today. I saw obviously we had the problem with the wheel brows. We had a problem with those where it didn't look strong enough, or maybe like the joint wasn't quite good enough, like in how it's actually attached to the rest of the car. Because there's a lot of deflection on the left wheel brow, so that's a little bit of a concern, and that did limit the running quite a lot for McLaren earlier today. So that's rough. That's not great at all. They'll obviously be hoping to improve that. Norris has just improved only 1 second off the pace though, so that's a little bit more encouraging for McLaren. But like I said, pace really just doesn't matter at the moment. It really doesn't. Let's take a look at the speed trap data, because this is something that we were, a little bit more interested in. Is it on here? I think it is. Yeah, speed trap. So here we go. So speed trap data so far, we've got a tie between Sainz and Verstappen at 291 in the third sector. 240 for Alonso in the first, which is only 3 kilometers an hour quicker than what Verstappen had, only 1 quicker than Leclerc. So it does seem like they're sort of in the region. The Red Bull and Ferraris are sort of there or thereabouts in the engine modes at the moment. Sainz has got a little bit of an advantage on Verstappen in the first speed trap. Leclerc. Leclerc has a little advantage on Verstappen in the first speed trap. And then Verstappen has a little advantage in the second one. So Alonso, though, popping up there. The Renault engine may be looking like it's a little bit more powerful. And we haven't had them break down from an engine issue today. We had them break down a little bit earlier, but not from that. So who's got the... who's worse, actually? Let's take a look at who is doing the worst at the moment on the speed trap. Gasly, yeah, way down, but that's probably just running in a lower engine mode, to be honest. Is there something, yeah, like a 7? Okay, so yeah, fairly uniformly, AlphaTauri probably got the engines turned down by the looks of it, because unless they just have like a more high drag car. But Gasly, I mean, given how far he is off his teammate, that is definitely a decreased engine mode, or not using DRS, whatever. We've got a yellow flag out on track. We haven't had a yellow flag for a while. Who is that for? Wait, see. Yeah, Norris went up to 5th. We saw that. I watch the test live on Sky Sports as we speak. Mercedes engine for Alonso. Hi, mate. Hello, Carlos Ramirez Batista. That is a really fun name to say. We still have a yellow flag out on track. I'm not sure what that's for, because I'm having to just use my tablet for this. So I'm using like Sky Go to like watch it while we're looking at the timings. And that's about a minute and a half behind. So the yellow flag is still there. You can see it's still there. Not sure what it's for. If you guys want to tell me before I even see it, go for it. But last year's times was around 1:30. Yeah, exactly. What's the most important takeaway from today in your opinion? I'd say fundamentally all the teams are looking really reliable. We haven't had many reliability concerns. A couple of normal problems you get in testing where it looks like the Haas is maybe a little bit too stiff. They might want to work on, maybe playing around with dampeners or something, just to, or sort of how they're creating the car and how they're assembling it to maybe have a little bit of a fix in that. But it's a fairly minor thing, but obviously it does mean some of the bodywork is going to start falling off, which isn't something you I wouldn't design my car to fall apart, let's put it that way. Sorry, we got a yellow flag in sector 2. What was that for? Is Mercedes engine turned down? I mean, if we look at speed trap data at the moment, Hamilton, 5, 5 and 8 off, so probably, or like, oh, it's a safety car test they're doing, right? Okay, there's not actually a reason. But if we're being honest, look, everyone's engine is probably turned down at the moment, because, I mean, look, we're going to see a lot quicker speed traps than a 240 in Sector 1. We're going to see a hell of a lot quicker than that at points this weekend. Guys, don't forget to support the channel. Thank you very much, Imran. Thank you very much. This isn't a stream I'm expecting to do very well. This is a stream that I'm doing as a promise to everyone who was on yesterday's stream, where I'm like, it just about works. I'm going to come on. Who's better? Aston better than McLaren? Yeah, I'm starting to lean that way, from how I'm actually seeing it perform. Oh my god, that is a lot of flow vis on the Aston Martin. That is a lot of flow vis. All on that. Oh, virtual safety car. Virtual safety car is out. That's a lot of flow vis on the Aston. It looks interesting. I'll give it that. So Alonso, I think, then came through the pit lane. Did he? Did he do a little run? No, he's around there with Ocon. But yeah, we got the track. I've got the track map on that right-hand side as well that I can just about see. I will find a way to make all of this a lot neater. This is literally just me doing this stream because we said, why don't I put the map? Because, I mean, we can do the map as well. We can move over to the map, but it doesn't really fit. I'm going to have to, play around with the OBS settings to get that to work properly. So that's, something I'm going to have to do. Whooper, hello, hello, hello. Ninja Turtle Aston. I know it's looking pretty cool, isn't it? It's looking pretty cool. But yeah, no, I'd say biggest like winners from today so far seem to be Aston Martin, and I'm not saying it based on the time. I'm saying it based on how that car looks to drive. It seems a very drivable car. Whether or not that turns into pace, when we get to the first race, I don't know. It normally does, but that's not a guarantee. Red Bull and Ferrari, again, I'd say the two most comfortable cars. It looks like they look like the two cars that are going to do the best. But that's like I said yesterday. I think we're going to really start this season sort of where we left off last. I'd be shocked if there's any sort of massive changes. Aston aren't going to break into like the top two teams. Mercedes will probably still be third quickest. I think Aston, based on how that car's handling compared to the McLaren, I'm actually concerned McLaren might end up around like fourth now. I'm sorry, around about sixth now. I'm concerned McLaren might slip out the top half of the constructors because Alpine, that car's looking good. It's also the only car that came in underweight, I believe. So yeah, the Alpine's looking really strong at the moment. Which, as a McLaren fan, concerns me because I think the Aston Martin, I'm starting to think based on looking at the drivability of both those cars compared to McLaren, I'm starting to get a little bit worried. So that's obviously one concern. I'm not ready for another boring season. I don't think it will be. I don't see how this season could be as boring as last season, like title fight wise. Because the thing is, Red Bull have less development, so no matter what, come the end of the season, we're probably going to have quite a tight fight. Whether or not that really translates into a title fight, because if Red Bull are really strong these first 6, 7, like I said last night, these first 6, 7, 8 races for Red Bull are so important. They're inevitably going to lose out in the sort of mid-season development race because they just have less wind tunnel time. They already had less time, and then that 10% penalty for the cost cap breach also then leads into it. So no matter what, Red Bull are probably going to struggle to outdevelop Ferrari and Mercedes. So if they don't pick up a lot of strong points early on this season, then it could be a bit, like I said last night, a bit of a sort of brawn situation where they start the season really strongly and then they need to keep, they need that lead to keep them ahead. It will just sort of be chipped away at as the season goes on. They'll hope they don't have any retirements, and that should sort of see them through. That's what Red Bull will be hoping for. Really strong sort of first half of the season, and then they probably expect to be caught up. If I'm guessing, that's what Red Bull are sort of anticipating. What's wrong with Mercedes? I don't think there's anything wrong with Mercedes. Like I said, don't look at the times. Just don't look at the times at the moment. Look at how well these cars are driving. It looks a little bit loose, if we're being honest, the Mercedes through the quick corners. I'm thinking sort of coming into sort of like the penultimate corner. It does seem a little bit loose. Which is the highest corner on the track, highest speed corner on the track. So that's where my concern would be at the moment for Mercedes. But obviously we don't know what fuel loads they're running. We don't know sort of what like tyre pressure, what downforce spec they've got on the car. There's so many things. This is day one of testing. Just don't read into anything too much. Just look at the drivability. That's really my key thing for today. I think the 15mm height change regulations, we can have some surprising changes from the order. It invites some changes, but I don't think we're going to get any drastic changes. I think we're more going to see some jumps. There's some talk that Alpine are looking to be closer to third than they were to fifth. That's their goal for this year. They want to finish fourth in the constructors, closer to third than to fifth. To do that, they have to improve by about 200 points, which is absolutely ridiculous. And if they think they're going to do that, if they genuinely believe they're going to do that, I would be shocked. I would be so shocked. We've got Ferrari flexi nose. Yeah, there is an element of the flexi nose there, and it's really clever what they've done. So they've got like the actual setup. You've got your sort of like carbon ply, and then the bodywork sort of sits over it. And what you're getting is little dimples in the surface when you're at high speed because it's that force acting down on it. VSC is ending, so we've got 8.5 minutes of a sprint session. I don't know if you want to call it that. We've had a lot of drivers coming in and out of the pits. Why VSC? The VSC was just a test. It's just a VSC test. Does Red Bull look okay? Yeah, I'd say the Red Bull probably looks the best, to be honest. Like actual drivability wise. What do I think of the Aston Martin with Alonso? I think Alonso in any car is worth an extra 2 or 3 tenths. And I think an Aston Martin with an extra 2 or 3 tenths is going to do them quite well this year. I would not be shocked if he picks up a couple of podiums. I really wouldn't. Championship fight, like some people are saying, I don't think that's on the cards at all. But a couple of podiums here or there when a couple of, drivers ahead sort of get knocked out. Yeah, I can see a couple of podiums this year. And then maybe if he sticks around for next year, maybe then more can happen. We'll see. A freeway battle for 4th between Alpine, Aston and McLaren if Stroll gets it together. Yeah, I'd say... No, I don't even think Stroll needs to get it together. I think if Stroll gets it together, Aston Martin probably comfortably... Ooh. No, you see, I don't know, because I'm expecting now McLaren to have quite a poor start this year. Based on sort of what we're seeing and what's coming out of the team. I'm expecting them to have probably be the 6th quickest car at the start. A bit like they were last year. They were like 7th or 8th. Then that pace sort of comes to them as they start developing. They tweak for what's going to work best. But then if we take a look at the likes of Alpine, I think they're going to start the season really strong because they're right at this weight limit already. One of the few teams I think came in underweight, which means they can play around with the ballast to put it basically where they want it, which should help, centre of gravity, how the car's sort of interacting, the dynamic movements of the car. Yeah, I mean, it's very complex stuff, but basically if you have ballast in the car, it's good. If you're in a position where you can put the weight where you want to put it, you'll be all right. Only really, really good livery is Mercedes and Aston Martin. Oh, yes, someone asked what my favourite livery is this year. Probably the Aston Martin. I just love it. Like the British Racing Green sort of set. I just love it. It looks so nice. I really do like it. So we've only got 5 minutes left on this day 1 of On Track running. We're going to be doing a little bit of a review at the end of this because I appreciate I've only been live for like 20 minutes. Tomorrow we will, unfortunately, I don't think be able to do any live stuff. I don't think that will be able to happen. Simply because sort of like time. But if you're just joining now, don't leave or anything. We're going to be doing a bit of a review from today. You can ask questions because I have watched like 99% of today's running. So, any questions you've got, anything you want to look at, whatever, any general questions about F1, do send it our way. And we'll also be doing a little bit of a lead into tomorrow and what we want to look at because we have, a couple of different drivers on track. Verstappen in the morning, Perez in the afternoon. Interesting dynamic with what Red Bull have done there. Really interested to see how that plays out because it might look a little bit silly if they turn up now to this first race in 9 days' time and they aren't that strong. It's going to look a little bit silly that they've just put Max out for the first 3 sessions, doing this big sort of mental game of, look, I'm just turning up, doing my 3 runs and heading off. It might look a little bit silly in the end, but we'll see. We should F1 Kahoot. I thought about doing that. I thought about doing that before. I'm not sure how it works though. I don't think it works very well over stream. I also have to see sort of how that goes. But no, I 100% plan on doing like an F1 quiz night sort of thing on a stream. That'd be really funny. Red Bull looked very fast. Ferrari not looking any different to last year. Really same as Mercedes. I would put Red Bull and Ferrari probably at the moment on fairly equal footing from sort of. They're both handling really well. They both don't have any clear problems with them. I think it's going to be a case of sort of lap by lap in qualifying, a bit like it was last year. Whichever driver puts in the best lap is probably going to end up with a pole position. I think we're probably in a fairly similar boat to what it was last year. Mercedes, I think, will be a little bit closer. I do think they'll be a little bit closer than they were at the start of last season. But it'll probably still be a similar distance to how far away they were at the end of last season. I don't think they'll have made a massive jump inside of this sort of winter break period. So we've got 3 minutes left in this morning. In this day 1 session, we're in the afternoon session. Can anyone else actually tell the difference between the Haas and the AlphaTauri Haas and Alfa Romeo from the front? Because it's annoying me quite a lot. I'm going to be honest. It's really annoying me. Only one red flag, and that was the Aston Martin. Any thoughts on it? No, I don't have any reliability concerns at all at the moment. There was one that, they came out this morning and it was an electrical issue. It's unfortunate these things happen. I think they did get a little bit of a shakedown, but they're, for the first time actually running at high power. They've probably actually got like all of the sort of electric, the electric power components actually sort of kicking in now. So it makes sense, it's not a massive concern. If it keeps happening, then we have to start asking questions of Aston Martin and reliability. But I think it's just an unfortunate start. First time they've turned it all up to that power, go out, and unfortunate, but oh well. On Mercedes sandbagging, I mean, everyone will be. Everyone will be sandbagging right now. Mercedes probably sandbagging more than others, yeah, because I think they'll quite comfortably be quicker than McLaren. They'll quite, as far as I'm aware, quite comfortably quicker. Aston Martin probably will be a bit close. I think they'll be there or thereabouts against them. Does the Williams look good on track, and will they improve? I don't think I've seen an onboard of the Williams today. I mean, there must have been one, but I was driving in the morning. I was driving home in the afternoon. Thoughts on Kailu? I don't even know what that is. So yeah, the first race starts in 9 days, 22 hours. Can we wait for that? I can't wait 9 days. I'm really excited for it now. So no one seems to be improving. I don't think anyone's doing sort of a glory run at the end of this session. It doesn't look like so far. Hello, Yost. How you doing? Well, I have a question. I know if Aston Martin suck this year after the hype, Otmar going to get the sacking? I think so. If Aston Martin don't do well this year, then yeah, we could definitely see a couple of changes sort of around the top. Because like I said, look, for the next 2 to 3 years, Aston Martin have to improve year on year. This year they've got the staff having their impact. The Mercedes and Red Bull staff they brought in, 2 very senior names. So this is the first time their impact's actually coming in on the car. Next year you've got some of the start of their wind tunnel coming online and their new factory when that all starts sometime this year. That will lead into next year's car. Then they'll have obviously another year with full development in those factories. So yeah, for the next 2 to 3 years, Aston Martin have to step it up each time. That just has to happen. That has to. Say this. Okay. I'm gonna get the accent quite wrong, aren't I? That's the problem here. Now where is Slovenia? Dober Dan. Dan, I don't know what's happening. Hello guys, help me. I get broken by other languages. The furthest I can go is a Glaci Ragazzi and a little bit of Italian, a little bit of Spanish, and a little bit of French. I could do 1 to 10 in German as well. I wouldn't put me down as a multilingual, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, so guys, what do we all make? I'm going to get a poll up. Is there any question anyone wants? Very nice and British. Was it? Take it easy, man. It's all cool. I don't know what I was about. The chat delay on this is so long. I don't even know what I was talking about when you guys comment, and that's so. I need to set it to the ultra. When I end this stream, someone put in the chat when I finish it, put the ultra low latency on, or if I next schedule a stream and I haven't done it or something, please remind me because I'm so bad at it. So checker flag is out. We have, ended this session now. We've got a couple of cars out on track. I don't know if we're doing a practice start at the end of today. Which team has impressed you the most? The most today. There we go. Let's go. So we'll say which team has impressed you most today. We've got Red Bull. For me, I'm going to put my top 4. Red Bull, Ferrari, Aston Martin, and... Who was another team that sort of impressed me today? Someone who's got a lot of laps in, should we do? Whoever got the most laps? Obviously, Verstappen got 157, which is crazy. That's ridiculous. 157 laps in 9 hours of running. Oh, no, in 8.5 hours of running. Really, that's good. Yeah, McLaren I wouldn't even put in contention for that. Should check in... Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that 3, to be honest, because I don't think a 4th team's impressed me today. I think it's, so far from what we've seen, those are the 3 most impressive teams. So now that session's sort of over, we're going to go here, which means we have the poll, boom, set up. So who can win the championship? That's another good question. Hello, Sam. How you doing? So guys, if you're just coming in off the end of testing, we are going to do a little bit of a review of today. If you've got any questions, any general comments you would like to sort of discuss, then absolutely send them our way, because that is the whole point of these streams, is that we can chat absolute rubbish that will probably prove to be wrong tomorrow. But you know what? It's quite fun to chat absolute rubbish. So we'll see. So yeah, which team has impressed you the most today? That's our poll that's set up at the moment. I'm going to go back over here so we can take a look at some of the speed trap data again, the times from today, the tyres and all of that sort of thing. But that poll is active, so if you want to go have a go at the poll, absolutely go for it. We love chatting rubbish here. We absolutely do. We love a bit of rubbish. So right, general thoughts on Mercedes. Should we go team by team? We can go team by team if you want. Does that seem fair? Because I can turn those into shorts as well, I think. So you can go team by team. Well, let's start off around the lower end of the grid. Should we do that? Your phobia 999. Hey, how are you doing? How did you know my phobia? That's terrifying. Hated the number 999. Awful. Yeah, team by team. Okay, so we'll do team by team. We can do that. So Williams, what have we got from them today? I don't think I've seen an onboard of the Williams, so I can't comment on like the general drivability. I don't think I saw it. There must have been one at some point, but I didn't see a lot of them pop up today. Albon completing 74 laps, really solid. Logan Sargent completing 75. Again, really solid. That's around the same tally that Max Verstappen got by himself, but obviously, you know, there was only one driver in the Red Bull, so that's sort of how that works. All good. How was your day? Pretty good, to be honest. Pretty good. I mean, well, actually, no, it was a bit horrendous, but on a whole, pretty good. University messed up one of my grades, and I had to stay behind for like an extra hour and a half in someone's office trying to sort out why my grade was capped at something when there was no reason to cap my grade. And it just became a whole email storm. I think there was like 20 emails sent. I don't feel sorry for my lecturer who's now having to deal with this, let's put it that way. But yeah, we'll gloss over that. Overall, okay day. Okay day as a whole. Mercedes is cooking right now. Let Mercedes cook. I mean, what are they cooking though? That's the question. There's another chassis in Red Bull Garage behind the shutter. Do you think it's a zero pod concept? No, I don't think so. Yeah, no, I don't think so. So for basically all the teams we're so close to the start of the season now. You know, it's 9 days until the race. It's a week until practice gets underway, basically, because it's next Friday. And we're near the end of today, so about a week. Yeah, the teams are just building the second chassis. It's not, you know, I don't think we're going to see anything different in these chassis, really. Yeah, Red Bull are building that second chassis, but I reckon so is everyone. You know, a lot of teams out there will be building their second chassis about now, because they need 2 cars for the race next weekend. Oh, I'm not even going to try to say that, Jesus. F1 really helps with all the stress. It does, to be honest. Like, you know, I really enjoyed it in the morning. You know, I was driving in this morning with it all playing. It's a vibe. It's a really nice vibe to sort of drive in on. And you know, when we have Will Buxton, Alex Jakes, who was the other one? Jolyon Palmer, and then a fourth one joined as well. But that commentary team at 7 o'clock in the morning, it slaps. I was all in on that. Driving down the A1, I was like, yeah, this is great stuff. The numbers aren't hitting. The numbers, they're doing all right on this one, to be honest. Like this was a random. We've been going 30 minutes. This isn't bad. We were still returning from YouTube, to be honest. So I'm pretty happy with this. This is our best stream on our return. Okay, sure, it is our second stream on our return, but it's better than yesterday. There we go. That's how it works. YouTube is about momentum. Right, I'm gonna try to say it. So it's Zivjo, but it's like Zjoy. I don't know what that Z noise is, because it's got the accent. I don't know what noise you make with the accent. Zjoy. I don't know. What's my favourite Grand Prix? Grand Prix I most like to go to is Silverstone, just because you normally get a great race and it's just really cool. It's really cool. But the race I'd most like to go to is probably like an Austria, Monza, Spa sort of one, just to have that as a foreign Grand Prix. But my favourite race, like my favourite track overall, I don't know. I mean, I'm almost tempted to say Saudi Arabia just because it lends itself to being incredibly chaotic. But also it doesn't deserve to be my favourite track, so I don't actually want to give it that title because it doesn't deserve it. But it's a really fun track. I look forward to it because you're guaranteed some chaos. If you were a driver, what would you do? Advertise your own product to make money or practice on and on? I mean, it depends how much I'm getting paid. You know, if I'm in a Lewis Hamilton position and you're getting so much money anyway, you're going to be all right. But if you have a big brand, it will often lead to you being paid more anyway. So, you know, there's a little bit of juggling there. I mean, this is quite in-depth for a F1 stream. I'm in Austria in 2022. This is insane. Go him. Woohoo. Do you think any reserve driver will get a chance to race in an official Grand Prix? I mean, you have to say so far Felipe Drugovich seems pretty damn likely. Yeah. Drugovich seems like there's a really decent chance. If any rookie is going to get, or not rookie, if any reserve driver is going to get a seat for this year, you know, for a race or two, it looks like it's going to be Drugovich because Lance Stroll, his wrist might not recover in time. You know, that's a very real possibility. Do you think Mercedes will be good this year? I think they'll... Honestly, I think they'll be pretty close to where we left them last year. I don't think there's going to be a massive difference at all, really. I'm sorry about going, yes, no worries at all, yes. No worries at all. Favourite race is not the same with my favourite track. My favourite track is Monaco, hands down. I love watching the cars drive around Monaco. I love watching them drive around Monaco. I love watching them drive around Singapore. It's something about those two tracks. I just enjoy watching them drive around it. But actually, what we can do now, because we'll go back to this data in a minute. We're going to go to the head view for now, because we've got the poll going, we've got the chat up there, whatever. So same as Seb last year when he had COVID. Yeah, exactly. You know, when we get that sort of thing, there's just a chance that some of these drivers could, you know, get a cheeky race or two. But Drugovich, if someone said to me, you know, you have to put money on one of these rookies, or not, one of these reserve drivers racing this year, I'd say Drugovich, because Stroll's literally still injured. Like, he is injured. Should we change this to day 2 and get the countdown started for day 2? Pretty dramatic stuff, I've got to say. What time does it start? 7 o'clock in the morning? So 7:00 on the 24th. There we go. Boom! Yeah, I was so scared that wasn't going to work then. So we have 14 hours until day 2 of testing gets underway. I will say now, I won't be able to stream like any of that. I'm really annoyed that I won't be able to, but like I am in uni all day. Like I am full day from... I leave my house at about 6:30 in the morning. I won't be home until like 7:30 in the evening. There will not be a stream tomorrow, unfortunately. Unless I book a study room and I cheekily stream by myself from a study room. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think the quality of that stream is going to be too great. So, no, we're not going to do that. I think it'd be funny. Like, it'd be really funny to do a stream at uni at some point. You know, maybe on my last day at uni. Sorry, the broadcast just finished. I'm going to take out my earbud. I think it'd be really fun to do a stream at uni in one of the study rooms. So I'll do that before I leave uni. That might be a year or two down the line. A lot of drama on Baku. I love Baku as well. I tell you, I really do enjoy Baku. Honestly, I like most of the tracks on our calendar. The only ones I don't really... Zandvoort, I don't think it's a good track. I'm not a massive fan of Imola. This might be controversial because I know a lot of people do like Imola. I'm not a massive fan of it. I'm really not. I'm not sold on it yet. I feel like we need a couple more races there for me to sort of really get on board. Saudi Arabia is my favourite for just a lap, Spa for racing. I know, I mean, Saudi Arabia is such... You know, it's a new track, but to watch the cars going around it, the speeds they do, how close they get to the wall, it's really good. I really like that track. Races which have action overtaking, etc. Yeah, that's like your Silverstones, those sort of tracks. They're good. Is Red Bull any good this year? Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen today and how that car's handling, they're probably the strongest. I'd say Ferrari are probably there, probably even. I'd say sort of from what we've seen so far, it seems really close between the two. Both incredibly drivable cars. Verstappen probably pushing more than the Ferraris were, because this was Verstappen's only afternoon session that he's getting. He's in the morning tomorrow, and then he's not touching that car for another like 8 days until we get to test it, until we get to practice for the Grand Prix for the first round of the season. Who's my favourite driver? My favourite driver is Lando Norris. Although really, right, it's Jenson Button. But he's not here anymore, unfortunately. I've got a display cabinet coming in a couple of days, and I can get tax exemption stuff if I put stuff in it. So I can buy F1 memorabilia and get as a tax deduction because it's a background thing. How great is that? I love the UK law. And it also just makes the streams look cooler because I'm going to have like cool F1 memorabilia in the background. So we can do that. There we go. Jensen fan Pog. Everyone loves a bit of Jensen. Everyone loves Jensen. Singapore in all race have yellow flag. Yeah, that's what you always get a little bit of interesting stuff going on at Singapore, and I think I like it because it always runs to near the 2-hour limit, and I just think that's cool. I love getting extra F1. It's like I love a red flag in the middle of a race simply because it means I get more. It feels like free F1, you know, like it's extra that we weren't supposed to get. I know I thought that way since I was like 10 years old, and I think it's quite clear my mentality hasn't changed since I was about 10 years old. So, yeah. Yesterday you predicted between Ricciardo and Oscar about the adaptation of car, and you were on point. What can I say? I normally am. I normally am. I know what I'm talking about sometimes. I'll be honest. Hi from Brazil. Hello, Leticia. How are you doing? Leticia Oliveira Nascimento. Or Nascimento. Anyway, it's a cool name. Well done. You've got a cool name. But yeah, I mean, Piastri already seems to be fitting in quite well. Again, I don't think he had any real dramas, did he? Yeah, I don't think he had any real dramas at all. Obviously, pace-wise, yeah, he's a little bit off, but, you know, it was early on. You sent it. Hi, bro, from India. How you doing, Darshan? How you doing? Did you ever play iRacing? I gave it a go. I used to have a setup, like a racing setup. But then the potentiometer on the throttle went. So like the throttle inputs are really really glitchy. Because I think there was dust in there. And basically I couldn't be bothered to open it up and, you know, clean the potentiometer. So, you know, that several £100 kit just sort of got wasted. That's quite bad of me, actually, to be honest. I did play iRacing for a little bit. I really enjoyed driving like the Mazdas around. I thought that was really fun. I never drove one of the single-seaters, and I do regret that because my membership ran out and I'm like, meh. How are the Mercs doing so far? So Mercedes, I would say, it looks like the car's a little bit loose in the higher speed corner. So, you know, think to the penultimate corner, the one that sort of loops big around before you get to the penultimate straight. I mean, it's a smooth operator days. Yeah, I know. I mean, I love a bit of smooth operator. But yeah, no, I mean, the Mercedes looks a little bit loose. I think that's a potential concern for them. But on the whole, you know, that's just setup tweaks. It's not even anything too major. Suresh, how are you doing? Hello. Yeah, I don't think that's anything too major, really, for Mercedes at the moment. We'll wait and see because on day 3, that's when the drivability, like, really matters. We're getting a good understanding right now of who probably has the best car straight out the box before we start tweaking for setups and all of that sort of thing. But when we get to the 3rd day, we should really be looking at it. Have you seen the Red Bulls undercut more cut on the side pod than last year? Yeah, I mean, yeah, look, Red Bull and Aston Martin have got some incredibly aggressive side pod undercuts. And again, I think that kind of comes from Dan Fallows being, you know, coming from Red Bull to Aston Martin. He'd have worked on that concept originally, and he's just brought it over. So it's an interesting one. And Dan Fallows, of course, is the guy Aston Martin have brought over from Red Bull. Who's, you know, I think he said, was he their technical director? Red Bull's technical director, was he? I can't remember his exact role, but it was something along those lines. Just less fuel to real gains from Aston Martin. I think it's a mix. I think that struck me as a little bit more of a glory run than we've seen from some of the other cars. It's, you know, fresh out the box on new tyres, properly going for it a little bit more. But I think it is also indicative that they have improved because I'm going to be honest, even in pre-season testing last year, we never saw this pace from Aston Martin. At the start of last year, they were dreadful. They were really, really poor. So I think it's a little bit of a mix, a little bit of a glory run from Aston Martin, but also signs of genuine improvement, which is, of course, what we're expecting. Because like I said, Aston Martin, year on year now, for the next 3 years, they have to get better each year. They have no excuse to not be getting quicker year on year. Especially when you've got Alonso, you know, driving for you. He's easily worth 2 or 3 tenths, probably. He's a good driver. It's like having a Hamilton, a Leclerc, or a sort of Verstappen in your car. They will push to the limit. They will get right at that limit. Croft called it a dimple. I love calling it the dimple as well. I'm going to be calling it the dimple because the dimple is the best name for it. Yeah, also, so yeah, have you seen a Ferrari hole in the front wing on the straight which goes back and across? Yes, so basically what that is, they've got like their sort of supports, and then you've got like the carbon ply and the bodywork going over it. So because you have these strong supports of the bodywork wrapped over, this is to save weight, ultimately. So obviously it survived all the crash tests and everything, so it's no concern. They're allowed to do it, that's fine. But the bodywork's just bending because you've got so much load coming over it with the sort of downforce that you're getting on that part of the car that it's just causing the bodywork to fold in. I think that's really cool. I mean, I don't know if it's legal. I assume it's legal. But I imagine there's probably rules that stop your bodywork flexing. But we'll see if the FIA do anything. But I think it's cool. I see nothing wrong with it, to be honest. The drivability and balance looks better now. Because, yeah, I would agree with you there when we're talking about Aston Martin. What is Aston cooking? I know. They're the team that I'm... Yeah, I mean, I said in yesterday's stream they're going to make the biggest jump. And I absolutely stand by that. Aston Martin are going to make the biggest jump year on year, especially as a percentage of their points. By the end of last year, even, they had started to get quite a bit more competitive. You know, they were regularly competing for points. So, and I think we're just going to see a natural progression on that anyway. So yeah, I mean, Aston Martin, I might even change my prediction already to have them go 4th. Because all of a sudden I've lost a little bit of faith in McLaren. The Alpine looked strong. I think Alpine might beat McLaren, especially early on in the year. I just don't... I wish I had faith in McLaren at the start of the season, but I really just don't. From what we saw today, there's a couple of little issues. The wheel brow was flexing way too much. So, it's just these small issues that as a McLaren fan, who's been a McLaren fan for the best part of like well over a decade now, half my life. It scares me. It scares me quite a lot because I just know what could go wrong with McLaren, and it's normally everything. Perez is absent, I think. No, I don't know if he's in the paddock today. But he's doing tomorrow afternoon, Saturday morning, and Saturday afternoon. So Verstappen's doing the first 3 sessions. So he's done 2 already. So Verstappen's got the morning session tomorrow, and then Perez takes over for the remaining 3 sessions. So that's what's happening there. Which I think is sort of a big power play by Red Bull. They're doing their big, oh yeah, look, I've just turned up. I've done, Verstappen straight in the car. All he needs is 3 sessions. He's just going to do the first 3 sessions, go home, not even look at the times. He doesn't even need to care. That's how confident we are. And I'm going to be honest, from the way that car handled today, they're probably right to be confident. It looked so smooth. You have a couple of kicks of oversteer and a bit of understeer every now and again. But as a whole, when we saw that Red Bull, it looked really nice to drive. Same goes for the Ferrari. As I've said, but I know a lot more people are joining this stream now, the Mercedes did look a little bit loose. I am a little bit concerned for Mercedes on that front, but I think a lot of it's going to come down to sort of fine-tuning the setup and sort of see where things go from there. Like I say, we need to get to this 3rd day, and that's when we can actually start to draw conclusions. When we get to the end of this 3rd day of testing, we can go, okay, so yeah, Mercedes, maybe at the start it looked a little bit loose, but they've sort of fixed it. They're understanding how their setup works now, and they're looking a lot more confident because of it. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Ocon in the bin. Yeah, but let's not read too much into these times. I'm not... Anything we talk about today, I'm going to be brutally honest, it's not going to be about these times. We're more looking at the speed trap data, which looks pretty promising from Aston Martin, but I think a lot of that Aston Martin lap time didn't come from them turning the engine up or low fuel modes. I think it just came from them pushing on the first lap out on a set of C3 tyres. I think pretty much a lot of that came down to just having a tyre pace advantage compared to others who set quick laps. It feels like it's the same move from 2020. The car is similar to the RB22. What's your thought about Mercedes? Like I said just a minute ago, it seems a little bit loose. I'm not as confident with them as I was before. But by the time we get to day 3, that could completely change. As long as we see on day 3 that car can handle itself through the quick corners and it looks a little bit more stable, then I'll completely flip that decision. And it probably will. But I'm just saying, at the moment, from what we've seen, maybe a little bit concerned. Thank you for the sub as well. So if you guys have public subs, you do actually get this. I don't even know how you turn public subs on, and to be honest, I don't know how to turn that off. So that's just going to be there forever now, basically. I hope Mercedes is sandbagging. Yeah, don't look at the pace. Just ignore the actual lap times for now, pretty much. It just doesn't have a massive thing. So what is sandbagging? Great question. A lot of people won't know this. So sandbagging will typically be when you're running in a lower engine mode to sort of hide your pace, or you're running higher fuel modes, or you're on harder tyres. Basically anything that you can control that slows your pace down. The drivers pretty much every lap are pushing pretty close to the limit because there's no point in testing otherwise. If you're not pushing near the limit with, setup tweaks and that sort of thing, then you're not going to know what effect they have. And sure, you're hiding pace, great. But if you're not pushing and you're driving within your limits, what are you learning from it? So the drivers are always pushing. It's things that you can sort of independently change by yourself. So yeah, higher fuel loads, tyres, engine modes, that sort of thing. That's what sandbagging is. It's making yourself seem that little bit slower so that people maybe don't hype you up as much, or they don't want to steal your design because all of a sudden you're really quick. Nando thumbs up. I think that sums up for any Fernando Alonso fans out there today. I feel like Nando thumbs up is basically, that sums up today. We didn't see anything groundbreaking. P2, great. They're probably not going to finish P2 when we actually get to the first race. Probably won't be ahead of the Ferraris. Should be ahead of the McLaren, as I'm thinking now. I'm starting to, as a McLaren fan, get a little bit concerned. I still saw here, so I've been a McLaren fan for my entire life. It's just sad and depressing. I know, it's like being a Spurs fan, isn't it? It's like there's potential promise there, but it never happens. Sorry, Spurs fans. Yeah, but I hope Norris repeats Russian GP this year, but without rain. Well, yeah, so do I. What was the reason behind Ferrari falling off in the second session. Probably sandbagging. No, not even sandbagging, but like high fuel loads, what tires they used, all that sort of thing. Like I say, really don't look at the times yet. When we get to day 3, I'll allow some chat about the times. And maybe if Max puts in like a blinder tomorrow morning, because it's his last run, then I'll allow it. But at the moment, let's not discuss times too much. Don't read into it. Hi, just going to ask any porpoising on the car today. So it seems the Haas and Ferrari might still be struggling with some porpoising. I don't want to say struggling, because I'm not sure it really has that much of a negative impact, but I think struggling still... I think struggling still sort of porpoises. No, I think porpoising still sort of happening on those cars. But the car was steady for McLaren to drive. Yeah, in the end, once they got all of the they had that problem for wheel brow, didn't they? So it's that sort of thing. It's small things like that. But we didn't see anything majorly bad from McLaren today. Everything still seemed relatively positive. There wasn't any major drama. Obviously, they lost out on a fair bit of running, and that's not ideal. But they'll be able to make up of that. They'll be able to make up for that as this session goes on. Lewis went right several times. Yeah, we did see a lot of that, and I'm not sure if that's... Well, no, I mean, again, that links back to just me saying the Mercedes doesn't seem as stable as some of the other cars. That's not to say it won't become as stable as the other cars. It just seems at the moment... I'm not completely sold on Mercedes closing the gap to the top 2 from the end of last year. I haven't seen anything to suggest that yet. Did you see the wiring coming off the Merc wheel in the morning session? Do you know what it is? I saw it on my drive in. I was staring at it. I was like trying to drive along, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I thought, no, I should probably look at the road. Yeah, I'm really not sure what that was. Have we had an explanation as to what that was? Because I don't think the commentators knew, did they? What the hell, Mercedes? Come on, Hamilton, what's going on? Look, okay. Based on the timings, again, don't look at it. It's not important right now. Mercedes have come really low in practice sessions and testing sessions. It happens. But their drivability didn't look great. Their drivability really didn't look that great. So I'm starting to get a little bit more concerned with Mercedes now. Do stop you and encourage him to go wide even more. Nando fan here. Well, Suresh, there you go. I bet you're happy today. Why was Leclerc coming in every few laps? Do you think it wasn't consistent running? Look, the teams have plans. They have their run plan. I'm sure there was some logic to it, but I don't really know. I mean, it's just like was he coming in and just doing runs through the pits? Because sometimes that sort of like help cool the tires, help cool the engine, and maybe tweaking some settings as well in a sort of safer environment and on track. So there's a myriad of reasons they could be doing that. Don't take times too seriously. It's the first day of testing. No one right now will be pushing to the max, except obviously Aston and Verstappen. It seems by Saturday, though, they will all be pushing. Yeah, that's what I mean. By Saturday, I will allow some chat about times. When we get to Saturday, we can sit here and go, yeah, you know what? Because whenever we get to F1 testing, right, whenever we get to the end of it, and you take the time, the best times, that is what the grid's somewhat going to look like. I think, I don't know how many times I said this last year, like 7 out of the 10 teams, when you look at the completed list, are in the right place. The problem is you don't know which ones. So you get a rough idea of the grid, but you're not 100% sure. Because it could be any of the teams that are going quicker than expected or slower than expected. But if you just take it at face value, the times at the end, you're like, yeah, the majority of the grid is going to look something like that. That's sort of how that goes. That Merc is loosey-goosey on the race. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. What are the thoughts about Ferrari sliding a lot when they push on the S2? Is that the C2 or Sector 2? So, Sector 2 is a very high load sector. So that could be, I mean, my best guess would be that's sort of what setup they're running, especially if you look at like the speed trap data on those certain laps, whether they're running slightly lower downforce, what their fuel load was, what their tyre temperature was. There's so many reasons for it at the moment. But yeah, generally, I would say the drivability from Red Bull was the best. Ferrari, I'd probably put second. Aston Martin looked really solid. Mercedes might even go below Aston Martin. This isn't pace, by the way. This is the drivability of the car. Seems Aston Martin's maybe a little bit stronger than Mercedes. McLaren looked okay when it was on track. It didn't look that bad. Alpine, there was a few times it didn't go well. The Haas car looks a little bit too stiff. there was a lot of lockups. I think that comes from the car just being a little bit too stiff. They can fix that very easily. Often it's just changing the dampers. So really, it's not a lot to be concerned about. Maybe they're more near the pace, but not quite there yet when we come to Mercedes. Yeah, I mean, there's a very decent chance that's the case, yeah. I hope Mercedes sandbags. Everyone is at the moment. Alonso on fire. Like the stream, guys. Thank you, Guels. Thank you. Loose on the rear, protects tyres, though. Yeah, it can do. A lot of luck, because obviously when you're going to sort of slowing down, it can be the unloaded tyre quite a lot. A lot of lockups are Aston Martin. Yeah, but there's a lot of lockups across the grid. You know, Haas had quite a lot. I think Williams had a couple. I saw Mercedes. You know, lockups are driver mistakes as well as car issues. So, and drivers are pushing in F1 testing. You know, don't think because, you know, we say they're sandbagging. The drivers are pushing because, like I say, there's no point otherwise. You know, if you're going out there and driving at half your level, you're not learning anything. The setup changes aren't giving you any information. You know, for the most part, when they're doing like longer race runs, they are pushing. So that's where you get lockups and all of that sort of thing comes from. Logan looked impressive for a rookie. I agree. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree on that one. I want to see how the penalty wind tunnel affects Red Bull later on. Yeah, I mean, I alluded to it earlier in the stream. For me, that's going to be a big problem for Red Bull. And it's why they need to start the season strongly. First 7-8 races, they need to get a fairly decent gap, I think, because Red Bull and Mercedes should both outdevelop Red Bull. And if they don't, that's, you know, again, it's like if Aston Martin don't improve from last year, they should be. It's not a prediction. They should be doing it. There's no reason they shouldn't be out developing Red Bull over the course of the year. So if we start the season quite close between the top 3 teams, Red Bull might be in trouble because by the end of the year, they'll probably be the 3rd quickest. But if they've got a decent lead now, then it might get to the case by the end of the year, Mercedes and Ferrari just catch up. And then we start having some really good races, but the title's basically already wrapped up. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, a lot of it's going to come down to the starting pace. I really think between the top 3 teams, the title might be decided in the first half of the season. And it's basically going to come down to whether or not Red Bull are quick at the start of the year. That Red Bull engine will wear out any moment now. I'm not sure it will. It's looking good, isn't it? The Red Bull engine, especially at the end of last year, looked almighty. And that's because Ferrari, as I said in my video that we uploaded like 2 days ago, oh no, it was yesterday we uploaded that. As I said in the video yesterday, feels longer ago than that, Jesus. Ferrari just had to turn their engine down last year. That's why they lost out on the championship. Obviously strategy and crashes as well. But I think they were never going to be in it because at the end of the season, they had to turn their engines down after Azerbaijan because the car was blowing up every 5 minutes, which, believe it or not something you want it to be doing. Not particularly. So, yeah, big thing for Ferrari to improve on was reliability. Red Bull, they didn't even have a key area they needed to improve on. Maybe qualifying, but often a car that's really quick in qualifying won't be as quick in the race because it's a bit harsher on tyres. It's very hard to get a good qualifying and race car. Like the AlphaTauri we've seen in recent years, really good qualifying car, then just dropped all the way down in the race. It's very hard to have a car that's good in both. Like, the strong point is both. I've been saying this, Mercedes is in trouble. It's pretty much the same cars last year. I mean, yeah. Like, I get where you're coming from, but none of the teams have got, like, massively fundamental... I mean, Aston Martin, I mean, you can see from their side pod concept, have gone in a big, massively different direction. But on the whole, I mean, most of the cars are really similar to what we had last year. And I think we're still going to see a fair few performance jumps. Mercedes is not pushing maybe almost every test day, and not Svizino. I'm not sure what that word's meant to say. Since 2014, so I don't know. Plus, Alonso was pushing like he was in qualifying. Yeah, that's what I mean. Alonso's lap time there, that was on fresh C3 tyres. He'd just come out the pit lane and was like, yeah, let's just do this lap. Let's just see what happens. So that's why he's so high. Purple sector 3 as well. It was probably still a high fuel run. It wasn't a glory run. It was a performance run on the C3 tyres, probably at high fuel. And a lot of the lap time simply just came from having more grip through the corners than when pretty much everyone else on the grid set their best lap times. So I don't want to read too much into it. I'm more encouraged by Aston Martin's drivability. That car looked good to drive. Yeah, a few lockups here and there, running wide every now and again, but you know, you get that in practice sessions as well. Think back to, you know, 2021, you know, Verstappen and Lewis both made mistakes in practice sessions, in qualifying, and those were phenomenal cars. Those were two of the best F1 cars we've ever seen, like performance-wise. So, it happens. Alpine was priced up. Yeah, I'm starting to think Alpine might have a decent shot, because if they are the only car that's underweight and they can start using ballast, that's going to really help them. Really going to help them. Keep in mind, last year's pole time in Bahrain was a 1:30.558. Yep, so we're still a long way from that. Yeah, we're about 1.4 away from what we saw last year from pole. But we are about a second and a half ahead of what we saw on day one in Bahrain last year. So it's more representative than day one last year, as in we've seen some more performance runs, some quicker runs. But we're still not at peak levels yet. By day 3, we will be able to compete with last year's pole time. You know, probably be within a couple of tenths of it or something. And we will get there. We'll get there. Mercedes, a good test. Yeah, they got a lot of laps in, didn't they? What was it? They got 83, 69, 152 laps in, which is really good. Really good. What's up with the Red Bull side pods? Your thoughts? I mean, they've just gone for a massive undercut, you know. And it works, a really aggressive undercut, and it seems to be working. It seems to be working, and I think it's the same thing that Aston Martin have gone for. And of course, that comes from Dan Fallows, who's come from Red Bull to yeah, and he's implementing his key design ideas and processes onto that Aston Martin car. Do I think Mercedes is still struggling? Well, it depends what you mean by still struggling. Are we talking like the start of last year levels? No. Are we talking maybe as close as they were at the end of last year? They might have fallen back a little bit. Maybe a tenth or two. It just looks like that car's a little bit unstable at the moment. Don't get me wrong. You know, we might get a day or two down the line. By day 3, I might completely U-turn on this. That have fiddled with a setup, made the tweaks they want, you know, what the drivers are looking for, and it works. You know, that's right. So it's actually more than likely that will happen. But at this second in time, I'm not overwhelmed by Mercedes at the moment. They've not blown me away today. What are we seeing? McLaren was the only team that didn't complete 100 laps today. Yeah, but they both had just problems, really. Like, and getting near 100 laps anyway isn't bad going. How many did Piastri manage? Yeah, they're on 92. That's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, it's not ideal. They'd have wanted more laps, but it's not awful. You know, we've had days where teams have only done like 5 laps over the whole day and still done all right. Starting pace is going to be big, says Burnout. Yeah, I completely agree with that, because especially for Red Bull, I think that's most important. They have to start the season strong, because the odds are, with that reduction in wind tunnel testing that they come from being first last year, plus the 10% reduction, they're going to be outdeveloped. So I think the championship this year is going to come down to the first 7, 8, 9 races. You know, that first half of the season. Red Bull have to pick up, I think, 5 or 6 wins with one driver. So probably Max, if we're being honest. Max has got to pick up 5 or 6 wins really early into the season. Probably 2/3 of the races he's got to win early on. Yeah, otherwise he could be in a little bit of trouble. It's going to come down to sort of how. But that's what I like. We have championship implications because we have good idea how the season's probably going to go already. We can already take from the first race potential championship implications, and I love that, because if Red Bull are third quickest when we get to the first race this year, okay, it's in Bahrain, so we might even have an idea by the end of testing what's going to happen. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be so interesting. Do you think Williams' team boss will be giving information about their side pods to Mercedes? I mean, obviously there's rules on what sort of information can be shared, so probably not too much of it. But yeah, there'll be some back and forth. But I think it's more going to be, him taking what he knows from Mercedes and applying it to Williams rather than the other way around. So yeah. First race prediction. Oh, we'll get onto that. Day 3. We'll do that on day 3. I don't feel confident enough yet. If I was to give like a random prediction based on just what we saw today, and I had to order the top 4. No, let's go top 6. If I had to order the top 6 teams right now, I'd go Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Alpine, McLaren. I think if I had to guess right now based on what we saw today, I think that'd be my 6 teams. Aston Martin prediction, like I say, like I've been saying a lot recently, they've got to make that step up. There's no excuse for them not to. There's no excuse at all. So I think Alonso will pick up at least 3 podiums this year. Yeah, I think... that's quite hard, though, because the problem is we now have 3 competitive teams up front, and, you know, in 2021 we had loads of shock podiums, because all it took was 2 drivers from those top 2 teams retiring, and you automatically had a shock podium, like a midfield podium. But when you have 3 competitive teams, it's all of a sudden a lot harder to get those shock podiums, because if 2 of the leaders drop out, then the Mercedes get the podium, and that's not a shock, is it? You know, no one's shocked by a Mercedes podium. Love Alonso, 0.029 off the pace. Yeah, but he did that on the first lap on a fresh set of C3 tyres, so I think a lot of that pace simply just came from having more grip. 4 competitive teams at the moment. So, what, are you including Aston Martin in that competitive team list? Because that might be a bold prediction so far. Might be a bold prediction so far, but you never know. Is it Aston Martin and more Alonso? I mean, Alonso, I will always be of the opinion he's going to add like 0.2 to that car, sort of thing. You know, he's got the ability to sort of put that car where you'd normally go, oh, it shouldn't be doing that. You know, that's sort of what his level is. He can make cars seem better. Because he's a good driver. You know, it's the same if you put Hamilton in the Aston Martin, Verstappen in the Aston Martin, Leclerc in the Aston Martin. You know, they're going to make that car look good. So yeah, they should be really happy to have one of the top 4 drivers on the grid, I'd say. So yeah, he'll help them. Aston looked brilliant in turns. Yeah, I mean, it looked. That's what I mean. The drivability was really. Alonso 2023 champion. I'm not going to go that far. Not quite going to go that far. Might be a bit optimistic. I mean, I'd love to see it. I mean, to us, I'm a big fan of Fernando Alonso anyway. Not even off of like a fan level. It's just like I admire Alonso in that sort of sense. It's not even like I support him. It's like I admire him sort of thing. Russell and Hamilton prediction. Ooh. I mean, I don't know. It's going to come down to what we see more from Mercedes over the next 2 days, because today it wasn't ridiculously positive. The car looked very loose, especially through the fast corners. Locked up a few times, ran wide a few times when it was sort of on the throttle pickup. So yeah, I'm not sure you can be too confident with Mercedes. I wouldn't know what to do like prediction wise with them right now. I'd say 5th and 6th, but that's just based off what we've seen so far. Yeah, Vettel got upgraded. I mean, basically, yeah. You've replaced Vettel with a driver who was definitely the last couple of years performing at a higher level than Vettel was. So, yeah, they have upgraded on Vettel, yeah. It does look like Merc are holding back a bit, though. Everyone's holding back a bit. That's the thing. Everybody out there is holding back a bit. Obviously, I assume you mean holding back more than others, which is a very valid comment, and they probably are. Because they're not going to turn up and, you know, they're not going to be beaten by probably Aston Martin. They probably won't be beaten by Aston Martin. That would be a shock. But they definitely won't be beaten by McLaren, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I'm a McLaren fan, so if they do, I'm not going to complain. But I don't see it happening. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, cool. I don't know if you covered this opinion on McLaren. Well, there we go. We've just had 2 people ask about McLaren in a row. So let's do McLaren. Car today looked fairly stable. I wouldn't say there was any real concerns. There was obviously a couple of moments today where they were in the garage having to do work because the left wheel brow, bit too much deflection on that, so a little bit of a weak mount. Sort of its actual structural integrity wasn't great. But that can be fixed. Just put some gaffer tape on it. You'll be fine. You can tell I'm an engineer because it is. If it's broken, put tape on it. You'll be fine. Generally how it goes. Surprise race winner of the season? I don't think we'll get one. I don't think we're going to get a surprise win. We didn't get one last year. I don't think we'll get one this year. That's the problem. When you have 3 competitive teams up top, you're not going to get those surprise winners. You're not going to get it. But you should get a better title fight, and fingers crossed that's what we will get. De Vries versus Tsunoda. Yeah, we did that on a poll yesterday, and the vast majority of people went for De Vries, and I'm probably really slightly leaning that way. But if you show me the results now, I wouldn't be shocked if it was, you know, either way. Like, I'll just go, fair play. You know, whichever one beats the other one, I'll go, yeah, all right. I don't particularly rate either De Vries or Tsunoda, so I wouldn't be surprised either way. So does that mean Red Bull is using full potential at the moment? No. At the moment, no. We are still about a second and a half off of Yeah, we're still about a second and a half off of what was the pole time last year. What do you think of the Williams? I didn't see any onboards of it today. I saw a couple of off-board shots and a couple of replays, but I didn't see an onboard of it running, so I can't really comment on... I mean, don't get me wrong, it must have been on screen, but I must have just missed it. You know, I had a couple of lectures today. I was driving around the country today, so I missed seconds. You know, I missed minutes here and there. But yeah. Have I considered working for a team? I mean, I'd love to. If, you know, once I graduate, I have the option to do that and I get accepted, you know, I'll apply to the teams in a bunch of roles. If I get accepted, brilliant. I'm going to turn my lights down slightly because it's got a bit darker in the room. If I get accepted into those roles, I'll go, yeah, brilliant, I'll do it. But if not particularly fussed, you know, engineering is quite a broad subject. So I should be okay pretty much in any field, generally. Let's see when everyone is using C5 or C4 tomorrow evening or day 3 evening. Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's when we can start looking at the times. While we're still talking about like C3 lap times, I'm not having it. Guys, don't discuss times. I'm not allowing it. Maybe tomorrow if we get a couple of C4 runs, we can start to mention it. But day 3, when everyone's had to go on to C4 and C5s, that's when we can discuss times. I'll accept it then. I'll accept it. What do I think about Haas? They really flew under my radar today. It does look like, as I said on the commentary, the car's a little bit stiff. It does seem like that's a problem that they've got. But, you know, fundamentally, it's not too bad for them. It locked up a few times. There's a couple of, like, small errors, but, you know, I think it was just a pretty uneventful, positive day on the whole for Haas. You know, nothing to really worry about. And I think it bodes well for them being sort of a midfield, low point scoring team. And that's what they're expecting. You know, that's what they're looking for. Do I think that De Vries is the next podium sitter, Lando's the next Grand Prix winner, and George is the next world champion? De Vries, I don't think he'll get a podium. I think Lando... Yeah, I think Lando's probably the next new Grand Prix winner. I think Leclerc, Russell, Norris, Sainz, if he got a really good year. If we're talking about like next new world champion, there's quite a few drivers on the grid it could be. I'm not sure I'd go with Russell as my top guess though, because it really depends where Mercedes go, because their trajectory at the moment is not fantastic. But like I say, we'll wait and see on day 3. A lot of these questions will become a lot clearer. Best rookie of the day, probably Logan Sargent. Oscar Piastri, Logan Sargent. I know I've just named 2/3 of the rookies, but yeah, they both did, you know, what was asked of them today. I mean, to be fair, De Vries got 85 laps in, which is really, really good as well. So I don't think you can say which one did the best today. They all got laps in that they needed. Obviously, Piastri would have liked more, but it wasn't his fault that they didn't get those laps in. Sargent looked really solid, and to be fair, so did De Vries. So yeah, I don't think you could really say any of them did well or badly today. Do you feel Aston Martin were light on fuel during their performance run? No, I don't think so. I think looking at the speed trap times that we can see here, there we go, that we can see here, to me that doesn't scream they're on a high performance run, because if they'd been running lower engine modes or lower fuel modes, then we'd have seen, I think, definitely an improvement on Verstappen in the speed traps, which they only had in one speed trap. So I don't think it was a performance run. I think it was literally just a... no, sorry. I don't think it was a glory run. I think it was just a performance run on the C3 tyre. You know, they've come out medium fuel load, probably about what Red Bull were likely running when Verstappen did his lap. But Alonso's lap was a lot quicker because A, it was later in the day. So, you know, better temperatures, more grip. It's a grippier circuit. And also he did it on his first lap. So a lot of that lap time simply just came from being on fresh tyres, rather than engine or fuel mode, or even really necessarily car pace. You know, that was the first attacking lap we saw on someone on fresh tyres. So, yeah. I mean, the second he came out the pits to set a personal best sector 1, I'm like, yeah, okay, this. I see what they're doing here. I won't lie, Merck disappointed me today. Yeah, I agree with you. To be honest. Thoughts on Hulkenberg? I think he's a really solid driver. Obviously, it's a real shame he hasn't picked up that podium, and he probably won't in a Haas. If he gets the end of his career and hasn't got a podium, I'm going to feel so bad for him. I'm going to feel so sorry. But, you know, that's just how it is sometimes. That's just how it is. He's a really good driver, though. He'll pick up good points. Good evening, my good man. How's the stream been? Hello, Christian. How are you doing? Yeah, very good stream so far. Very good stream. I'm surprised by how many people are here. I was expecting like 30 people this stream. So if you guys are here, and actually if you've just found the channel for the first time, make sure to subscribe and stuff. We do bring a lot of very insightful comments. This is probably the least like professional stream I'm going to be doing because we completely rushed this. I wasn't meant to be using that. We're meant to have like independent graphics and stuff. I have completely rushed this because I promised everyone on last night's stream that we would do a stream today. I finally got the puppy to sleep. There you go, guys. If you're new here as well, I have a puppy, so you should subscribe because we will get puppy content, and the puppy is cute. So if there's not a better reason to subscribe, I'll tell you. Go Alonso, go. Good evening. Drugovich might have to race first 2 races, Stroll out. Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Drugovich does have to do 1 or 2 races. I wouldn't be surprised. Show the puppy. The puppy is asleep at the moment, I think. So I can't go get her. But she is very cute. I promise you she's very cute. And I will upload a picture onto my computer. So, that, you know what? Hang on. Let's go over here. I think I can show a picture of the puppy. I think I have puppy content on Twitter. I think I put it on the RaceBeacon Twitter account. So if you're not following us on Twitter, it's at RaceBeacon TV. I think it is. At RaceBeacon TV. If you want to give us a follow on there. That's basically just got stream notifications and sort of any F1 news that breaks. So, let me see if I have a puppy picture on here. I think I do. I did upload a puppy. Here we go. This is from when she was a little bit younger. This was from the start of the month. We hadn't had her very long at this point. But here she is. Very cute little girl. Look at her. Look at her little bloody maniac she is. Very cute. I mean, these aren't the most flattering pictures. That's a cute picture. They're not very flattering pictures, these. But there's the puppy. There's the puppy. If anyone wanted to see the puppy, there's the puppy. She's a bit bigger already now. Everyone loves the puppy. See, we like the puppy. That's what I mean. Puppy livery reveal. Puppy livery reveal. Love it. Puppy better be called Kaylor. Are you the Forest fan? Or am I just making up because Kaylor Navas? Is that where we're going with this? I'm not sure. It's not. She's called Bella. Very lovely little dog. Very lovely little dog. Oh, wasn't it? Yeah, Bella. Yeah. Okay, let's get back to F1. Mercedes would go for race pace. Yeah, I agree with that today. But the only thing I'd be concerned about was it did seem as a bit of an unstable car at times. So that's the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about from Mercedes' end. But yeah. Alpine turn 10 lost everything. Yeah, again, very right. Alpine always late every year. They told the car would be on the podium. It's not going to happen. That car's not regularly going to be scoring podiums. They said, oh yeah, our goal this year is to be closer to 3rd and 2nd. Of course they will, unless they're first. Their goal is to be closer to 3rd than to 5th. I'm not sure with Aston Martin if that's going to happen, to be honest. I also have a Bella, but she is my friend. Alright, fair enough. Maybe not quite the same thing, but so long as it wasn't bouncing, Merc should be fine. I mean, yes, but like they're not going to have, magically pace because it wasn't bouncing. That's not like a guarantee. Aside from F1, Man United versus Barca predictions. Ooh, I'm going to be watching that tonight. I think United might edge it. I really think they might. I'm not sure though. I've got a friend who's a United fan, and he normally backs me up in Forest games when we play. So I feel like I've got to return the favour. Waiting for C5 tyres, low fuel run, sparking power modes will be hooked. It will look hooked, yeah. I can't wait for it. I can't wait. I think Mercedes at the start won't compete for podium, rather Aston. Ooh, that's a good prediction. So, what, are some of us thinking that Aston Martin might even be ahead of Mercedes in these first couple of races? I'm not sure I'd go that far. I'm going to be honest. Not sure. But I think it might be pretty close. I wouldn't be shocked if there's only a couple of tenths in it. I really wouldn't. So yeah, that wouldn't shock me too much. It's completely unlikely that Alpine will get third. Yeah, I know. I'm aware of that, yeah. I mean, to be fair, they're not aiming for third. They're saying they want to be closer to 3rd than 5th. So, 4th, really. But, yeah. Aston, let's go! The Alpine didn't look amazing. It looked a bit stiff. Yeah, so did the Haas. I think there's a few cars out there that did look a little bit stiff today. A couple of lockups here and there as well, sort of caused by that. What's my thought on Alpine? As they should be strong because they adapted the concept they had last year. I'm not completely sold on their lineup, if I'm being honest. I'm not sold on the driver lineup massively. Oh God, I don't know. I couldn't predict what Alpine are going to do this year. I really couldn't. They could finish anywhere from 4th to 6th in my mind. If we're talking about the battle between Aston Martin, McLaren, and Alpine, that could finish any way round. You know, any way round. I don't know. Numi apparently sees Aston Martin as a serious competitor. Yeah, I think that might be them bigging each other up though. At the moment, Aston Martin shouldn't make a leap that big without a major regulation change. It should take them a year or two to get to that level. But, you know, I massively respect Newey, and he's not normally one to play the media too much, so maybe there's some truth in what he's saying. But I'd be surprised. I'd be really surprised. Aston Martin fans are mainly Alonso fans. Yeah, I mean, that tends to happen wherever Alonso goes, if we're being honest. That does tend to... I mean, he's got a massive fan base. And I mean, he's been around long enough. He sort of accumulates fans and just keeps them. So it's like, if he goes to every team, everyone will love him in the end. I mean, I support Ferrari, but as a driver, Alonso. I mean, yeah, I don't support Alonso, but like, I really admire him as a driver. Like, really admire him. Like, I think he's one of the greatest drivers the sport's had. You know, like, and he's been very unlucky not to have more championships than he does. Really unlucky. I mean, I support Ferrari. Yep. Honestly, waiting for day 3 for actual representation. Yeah, I know I am as well. Really, all we can get from today is sort of the drivability of the cars. Red Bull looking strong, Ferrari looking strong. Mercedes need to improve. There's an element that they need to improve there. Any other real comments? I mean, the Aston Martin looked good, like on track. The actual drivability of the car, ignore the lap times. The actual drivability looked really solid for them. Yeah, I'll end this stream in about 8 minutes' time, I think. This seems fair to end the stream about an hour and a half mark. This stream was going to be a lot shorter, but we actually had quite a lot of people in here. You know, I mean, we peaked over 300, which I'm really shocked by because I was expecting like 30 people for this. So plan is maybe tomorrow I'm going to try to get some content out, but it might be really tricky because, like I say, I am at uni for like 12 hours tomorrow. Like, it's a 12-hour block where I'm basically at uni. So yeah, it's gonna be really hard to get content out. But Saturday, I'm gonna try to get out like shorts. I'm gonna try to get, I'm gonna try to get stuff done. We might get a short or two tomorrow. There'll be some comments from this stream that I can put up. There'll be some comments from the previous stream. You know, I'll just get a short or something and just put 2 up. Hello, yeah, nothing special, nor big breakdowns. Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. We didn't see anything too bad reliability-wise. Obviously, Aston Martin at the start of the day, but that's just some electrical issues. That's, part shakedown. Nothing really to worry about too much. Destroying the YouTube algorithm. I know, that's why I have to keep uploading content. I have to keep going. Because, each thing we've uploaded, each thing we've done, I'm seeing, like, better engagement on. And that's how the algorithm works. I really tried for a bit. We gained loads of... I mean, look at it. We gained loads of subscribers. God knows how. Never thought I'd have that many. And I need to get back into it. I need to get back into, regularly uploading, make the algorithm like me more, and hopefully we can grow even more. Because we're getting to the end of the stream, so I'm just going to start being a little bit off-piste. The one goal I have on this channel is to one day, even if it takes years, I would love to hit 100,000 subscribers for the plaque. That's all I want. I don't want the money from the videos. I don't want any of that. I mean, it helps, obviously. I'll take it. But, like, if I could trade all of the money that I'll ever get on the channel for guaranteed plaque, I'm like, go for it. Absolutely. I want it. Can you imagine the pride of, like, opening one of those? I want it. I want it so bad. I might just steal someone else's and write my name on it. That'd be a good idea. Yeah, off-piece slightly. You get sooner. I'm not sure I mean, there's no reason we couldn't on this channel. There's really no reason we couldn't. It's if I have the dedication to keep going. That's the thing, because it has to be really but the streams I can do, and we get really good engagement on the streams, and that is, I think, probably the best way to sort of get the content. It's just quite hard to have the time to sit here for like today, an hour and a half even, and be able to do these streams at like good times. But like I say, we're really planning to have more comprehensive like chats about the race than we did last year. Pre-quali, post-quali, pre-race, post-race, whatever. A lot more shorts, a lot more videos. So yeah, there's a lot more that we're gonna do this year. Your stream was at peak last year when testing was not streamed. Yeah, exactly. And that it's those sort of things that are really good. And in hindsight, what I should have done is kept regularly streaming afterwards, because then, people will stick around more because they're like, oh yeah, I quite like him, we'll do that. But yeah, I love just openly discussing channel strategy on a stream, when it's an F1 testing. But it's fun. Day one done already. Yep. In fact, I'll bring you up all of the results from today. So if anyone just joining wants to look at any other results and you don't know already, that's it with the speed trap data as well. You'll get it sooner or later. Maybe. Sunday is my first F1 22 league race. Well, good luck, Colin. I can tell you, I used to do commentary for... Well, actually, it's the top Xbox league on F1 league racing, which was... Don't know why I stopped doing that. Especially seeing where some of those... anyone know George Morgan? He's been a couple of things on the channel. I commentated with him for a bit, and now he's like a real-life commentator, and that's really cool. Well, actually, he's also the F1 esports commentator, so yeah, really cool. Everyone loves George. Give George a follow if you don't already. He's great. Oh boy, AlphaTauri looks slow. Very. Yeah, don't read into times too much. I mean, I don't think they'll be... I don't think they'll be any higher than 8th. You know, I don't think it's a particularly good lineup at all. They'll probably end up like 9th this year, but the car probably does have the pace. Maybe start doing some forest content. Oh, I'd love to. We could set up like a football beacon or something. I don't know what the hell I'd call it. I'd love to do some football content. Maybe that can be a branch channel that we do. But I want to focus on the F1. Unless Forest want to offer me like special tickets to do work for them or anything, in which case I'll do it. If you're watching. But yeah. Max and Fernando arriving at the first corner together will be fun. No give, all take. That's why I would love the front row when we get to this first race in 9 days' time to be Max and Fernando on the front row. That would be absolutely mega because you know what? If you thought Hamilton Verstappen was bad, I think the only way it could get more toxic is if it was a Verstappen Alonso battle. And if it's a freeway fight between Hamilton, Alonso and Verstappen, I'm deleting Twitter. I am not going on Twitter. I'm turning off the chat for these streams, in fact. You're just going to have to watch me talk. We're not doing any of that anymore. It will be so horrendously toxic. But it'd probably get a lot of views. So actually, on second thoughts. Set up a podcast channel with another YouTuber. I'd love to do that. And I am actually friends with quite a few of the other YouTubers. Or, well, not friends. I've spoken to them and worked with them in the past. I think it'd be fun to do. I'd enjoy doing that. If there's any other YouTuber watching, wants to invite me on the podcast that you already have or wants to start one, I'm up for it. Yeah. No, I want to see Alonso Verstappen. Oh, God. I mean, I'd love to see it. You know, for a season, I would love to see that. I need an Alonso Hamilton again, but that'd be awful on Twitter. That'd be really bad. Hamilton might finish third then. Well, maybe he would. Or maybe he'll win. Depends how the cars go. Team LH44 versus Alonso fans versus Orange Army, who will win? Well, is this in a fight or in like the most annoying group ever to exist? Because, well, not annoying, but the most terrifying. Because when they pile on, any of those three groups, if they start a pile on, it's a pile on. They are right in. Annoying. Alonso peaking again. Yeah, I mean, they were mentioning this on the commentary. Also, hey, Helix, how you doing? Yeah, they mentioned this on the commentary, basically. You know, Alonso's saying he feels the best he's felt since, since he sort of started his career, since 05-06 when he had his championships. And if that is the case, that's really encouraging for him, isn't it? You know, no complaints there one bit. A competitive of Fernando Alonso is a great addition to the grid. You know, he makes the sport more interesting. You know, why wouldn't he? I don't think Alonso will have a car that can fight. No, I don't either. I really don't. I want to clarify that. We're not going to have Alonso in a title battle. I'm just saying I'd love to see it. But I do believe he could be best of the rest. Yeah, I agree. I'd say he's almost guaranteed. He's such a good driver. He probably would have been best of the rest last year as well if it wasn't for bad reliability. So, yeah, look, he's a really good driver. Really good driver. Alonso for Red Bull would be imperable. Yeah, I mean, that would be something. I mean, a Max and Alonso at the same team, I couldn't call which way that would go. I'm not sure which one would try to kill the other one first. Don't know how Alonso keeps being sharp at his age. It's crazy. That's what I admire him for, is how long he keeps going. That's what I really admire him for. Like I said, I'm not even a fan of his. Like, I'm not even like a supporter, like he's not like my number one driver who I actively support. I just really admire him. I think he's a really good driver. Every fan base has toxicity in them. That's what I hate about those few fans. Yes, a joke. Yes, as a joke, it's cool. to do about your rival, but not threat others with your discrimination. Yeah, I mean, that's what people do. Like, you know, there's always people who take it too far in anything, you know, politically, sporting, socially, you know, people take things too far. That's just what happens. And you've just got to go with what you know. It's always a silent majority that are, or not, it's a very vocal majority actually. No, I've mixed up the two phrases. They're a very vocal minority that are absolutely horrendous, when in reality the vast majority are fine. You know, it's not. You know, I sat at Silverstone in the middle of 2021 season, so like, you know, at the height of this sort of conflict between, you know, it's very clear at this point the championship was between Verstappen and Hamilton. In the grandstand, you know, Hamilton and Verstappen fans were just happily sitting there having a chat. You know, and that's the thing. Real life is not Twitter. That's where the really angry people live, and it all goes horribly wrong. In real life, you know, it's not like football. All the fans don't really hate each other and all of that. It's fine. It's fine. It's not as bad as it sounds like it is. DTS has made more Max fans and made people hate Lewis a lot. I wouldn't say Lewis gets like a bad rap in Drive to Survive or anything like that. Although I'm going to be honest, I only watched like 3 episodes of last year. I watched like the first 2 and then skipped to the last episode to see if they had anything new about Abu Dhabi. Realised they didn't, because the FIA and Formula 1 legal team had probably said to them, you can't put anything about it in there. And I thought, I don't really care anymore, because that was the bit I was most interested in. That annoyed me quite a lot. It's made a war between the two. Oh, God, yeah. Best example, Ronaldo v Messi. Yeah, I mean, they're so good. They're both so good. But we make you talk about Alonso more. I mean, I'm happy to talk about Alonso. I'm happy to. I've got a lot of good things to say about him. I think, as well, he knows how to play the media to really annoy people. He's very good at it. He's very good at annoying people. And there's a power to it. There's a power to that. But guys, we have hit an hour and a half. I probably won't keep going much longer. You do realise Max and Fernando are quite close friends. They both dislike Lewis with a passion. I mean, yeah, that's true, but you put those two against each other, it's not lasting long. It's really not lasting long. You know, you can be friends with someone until you're in a championship battle with them. You know, Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton were really good friends. You know, lifelong friends. Until they weren't. And that's what Formula 1 does to you. When you're in direct competition in the sort of like cooking pot that is Formula 1, with constant media pressure, constant questions, asking the same question every 5 minutes, it's difficult. It's difficult. I guess unlike most sports, age does not affect much in racing. If you're skilled, you can still... Yeah, exactly. I mean, there may be times when like the endurance aspect gets to you, but fundamentally, you know, it's not like football where you're sprinting and you know, actual like pace from running, which you genuinely can't control. When you get older, that just goes. But yeah, with F1, as long as you keep yourself fit enough, it's very doable. You can have a long career. Yeah, get some sleep. Uni is tiring, depends what you do. I mean, tomorrow I've got a really tiring day. Like, tomorrow is a long day. Thankfully, F1 testing is on, because it will keep me sort of entertained, because it's really boring as well. Believe it or not, like 8 hours of continuous lectures isn't fun. Yeah, especially one of my lectures, Jesus Christ. I mean, I highly doubt he's watching this, but if you are, sorry, but you're really boring. Do you think Piastri enjoyed it? Yeah, I wouldn't say he did anything wrong. I wouldn't say any of the rookies did bad today. They all did what was expected of them. They did what they needed to do. I can't complain about any of the rookies today. They did a good job. With the same cars, which drivers will be quickest? 4 or 5 pilots, please. Okay, so my elite level in Formula 1 is Hamilton, Verstappen, Leclerc, Alonso... Maybe chuck in Norris if I'm being cheeky, but then I'll chuck in Sainz as well. That's like the 7 best, I'd say. Perez, I think, just falls outside. That just, like, it's really close. He's on the rim of it, but I think he's just outside. Who else would be just outside? Maybe like, oh no, George. Yeah, maybe George. Ooh. Yeah, maybe I'll put George Russell into that group as well. It's quite difficult. Clutch, hello. I haven't seen you for a while. How you doing? Alonso was trying to get P1. Yeah, he probably was. You know, I'm a Forest fan. I am, absolutely. Come on, you Reds. I mean, come on. I mean, we're not going down. We're not going down, guys. We're doing well. We've seen Carl Alonso beat them easily. You know that. Yeah, honestly, I think it's between Verstappen and Alonso and Hamilton. And would Leclerc join that battle in equal machinery? Leclerc. Oh god, I hate the equal machinery debate because like you can't know until they actually are in equal machinery. It's such a good hypothetical because there's no way of knowing. I thought you support Derby. No, that's disgusting. Disgusting. I'm back. Hello, Sam. How you doing? We are about to leave. We're rounding up the stream now. Guys, can we get to 100 likes? We're 10 likes off. Can we get to 100 likes before I end the stream? That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. Otherwise, we never end the stream. Ever. I'm a Bournemouth fan. Bournemouth are acceptable. I mean, I hope you guys go down. Because that means we probably won't. But I'll feel bad when you do go down. You know, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Hamilton is a GOAT, isn't he? Outcome. Yeah, we're across 100. We can end the stream now. Thank you ever so much, guys. Yeah. Hamilton is the GOAT. He's up there. He's top 3 of all time. But I think, again, it's so... The GOAT debate all refers to like equal machinery. And you can't do it properly, especially between different eras, because you know Senna had different skills to Hamilton, Schumacher has different skills to both of them. You know, and you go back to like Jim Clark and those. You know, they all have different skills. They're driving different types of cars. So it's difficult. Oh, you're from Bournemouth, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm not from Nottingham, but I have family who supported Forest. I know those were like the first games I went to, so I was like, yeah, I'll support these guys. And up the Stevie Cooper, and until tomorrow. I want to see some love for Stevie Cooper. Oh yeah, Fangio as well. Good shout. Good shout. I mean, Stevie Cooper might be the GOAT of football management. And if anyone here doesn't follow the Premier League, they're going to be really confused and sorry. But we're rounding off the stream. What do you expect? We're going to I mean, we ramble during the stream, yet alone when we're coming to the end of it. It's just complete rubbish coming out anyway. Man United fan here. Well, You beat us quite a few times this year. I'm not sure I like you guys anymore. I remember the good old times when we raided WTF1 chat last year. Oh my god, that was funny. They, believe it or not, they ignored that. They sort of ignored that. There was hundreds of you. That was ridiculous. I think what Alonso said about Hamilton was partially true. He only knows how to drive when he's in front. He has always been given a stronger car, but I still do respect. I guess that's fair, but Hamilton hasn't always had the strongest car. You know, like, he had to race Alonso, Massa to those championships, Rosberg to a lot of his championships, Shaw, Bottas, you know, yeah, he never really put much of a fight. But for most his titles, he did have to fight people. Do you truly believe there'll be a Hamilton v Verstappen 2? I mean, if the cars are, like, quick enough, yeah. But it doesn't come down to those two's performance, it comes down to the cars. If Mercedes perform at the same level, then yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think what Alonso said about Hamilton was... Oh, yeah, I just read that one. McLaren Aston Martin will be in podium every race this season. Ooh. I mean, I hope. You know, as a McLaren fan, I'll take it. But not quite sure. Now, man, you wipe the floor of Bournemouth. Beat is an understatement. I mean, yeah, no, we did really well on that one. We did really well. Guys who started watching F1 2014 onwards, Hamilton is GOAT for real. Liverpool over here. I mean, we beat you guys. We beat Liverpool, so that's fine. I mean, we've got to play you again at Anfield, and I'm slightly less confident about that one because you're not absolutely useless anymore. Well, I say that, the Real Madrid game. This is fun. I'm just going to assault everyone's football teams. Keep them coming. I can't... Your thoughts on you guys buying a whole new team for the season? What, on us buying a team? No, I don't think I've got the money for that. I don't think I've got the money. Do I smell Orlando win this? No. No. I want to. I really want to. Anything for Real Madrid. Yeah, sorry. McLaren's really bad. I don't want to say they're really bad, but I think there's a decent chance they could end up like 6th or something. Like, I'm less confident now than I was yesterday for McLaren. And I wasn't actually that confident yesterday. Naughty Miles asking, wait, which one's that? Your thoughts on you guys buying... Oh, yeah, no, so basically we had to buy a whole new team. Like, we had so many loan players, then our goalkeeper wanted to go back to France, and then the players we were left with just weren't good enough for the Premier League, so we had to buy all the players we have. And Super Stevie Cooper has gelled them so well that it's fine. Do a 24-hour stream? I might do a charity 24-hour stream at some point, like, if there's... Maybe for, like, a championship decider or something, if we're, like, building up to an Abu Dhabi freeway decider or something, I'll do, like, a 24-hour charity stream where and like we'll do live race reaction or say, I don't know, something along those lines. You sleep, keep chat on, we carry on. I mean, yeah, to be fair, I can just stop streaming and leave the chat for a few minutes if you guys want that. If you want to just keep chatting, because I see you guys all go. But I have got to go look after the puppy, I've got to go eat food, and I've got to go sleep because I'm up really early tomorrow. I say it's not even 6 o'clock UK time yet. We're doing okay. It's not too bad. Not live stream is fun. Good. I like to hear that. I really like, because I try to keep these fun. I try to be as engaging as possible because I know a lot of other content creators, especially F1 content creators on here, where they already have a really big audience, they don't tend to do it a lot, and that does annoy me because I used to like watch a lot of videos that F1 content wise, and there was really poor engagement. So I was like, well, no, I'm gonna be good at it. I'm gonna be good at it. So I try really hard to do that and try to keep it engaging. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Thanks so much. And also some of the really nice comments I get, like that, it genuinely. Like I'm not that much like an emotional soppy person, like the vast majority of the time. But some of the comments I get, I'm just like, oh, that's just too nice. I can't handle it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna quickly get a link to the Discord. And if you haven't joined the Discord already, then I'd recommend joining the Discord because we have pictures of the puppy on there. So you know, it's pretty fun. I've just gone to the wrong video to get the Discord. There we go. That's right, Discord link I'm going to tag in the chat, and then we will head off for the evening. So if you haven't joined Discord, we've got a couple of hundred people in there. There we go, Discord chat there. I'm going to pin it. Let's pin it. I'm going to end the poll as well. So which team impressed us the most today? Aston Martin wins on 52% of the vote. Red Bull gets 32 and Ferrari 16. I'd say that's pretty fair. I'd say like as a general rating, because for me those were the top 3 teams of today, like on how good they were, like relative to their normal level wise. So that's pretty fair. So guys, thank you so much for engaging the poll. Thank you so much for watching the stream. And until next time, guys, I will probably get some like shorts out tomorrow. There won't be a video or anything. That I won't have the time to do that. Maybe a cheeky stream at the end of the day, but I doubt that will happen either. But Saturday, we'll try to pump as much out as possible. We'll try to be as live for as long as possible. And it'll be really fun. Hope to see you guys all there. And until next time, if you haven't subscribed already, do. What else do I say on a stream when I'm doing an outro? Bye. Have a good day. Have a good lunch, breakfast, dinner, wherever you happen to be in the world. I'm just going to press the end stream. Bye, go. Bye. I'm so bad at ending streams. It's horrific.